Hey everybody, it's Jillian here. This has nothing to do with what I'm going to talk about, but I just thought that would be a fun way to start. So I'm going to talk about actually a blog post I wrote and posted this morning, and some of you have already read it, but I have a few things I'm going to add because my blog post would have been a book if I said everything I wanted to say about it. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Jillian, and I'm a dietitian and entrepreneur, and a lot of times just a stay-at-home mom. And it is like 100 degrees outside today in Florida, so my son is swimming, which makes a lot of sense, while I'm sitting out here in the heat. But I'm going to talk about appetite suppressants. And I think a lot of times people, at least in my experience when I was seeing clients and patients on a regular basis about this topic, they were often afraid to ask, or maybe they just felt a little bit ashamed to ask for appetite suppressants, or, I mean, really even getting as far as into a doctor's office for the topic of weight loss was a really big step for them. And so that was one of the reasons why I decided to write that post, that blog topic, because a lot of times obesity, overweight is something that I think can be stigmatized in our society as a lack of willpower. And the thing is that it's not like people just wake up one day and decide that, all right, I'm getting sprayed, are going to decide that, you know, gee, I'm going to gain a bunch of weight, and I'm going to stop exercising, eat too much, and I'm just going to have this weight problem. It's not just a bad lifestyle choice to have an issue with weight. And it was something that was really, I'm trying not to get soaked by my son, it's something that was really groundbreaking for the medical profession in 2013, when the American Medical Association finally recognized obesity as a chronic disease, because that's what it is. If you struggle with weight, you can't, you know this, that you can't just decide that you're going to wake up and start eating less and exercising more and then willpower your way to losing the weight you want to lose, picking the weight that you want to weigh, and being able to maintain it. It doesn't work that way. And a chronic disease is something that you have to manage for the rest of your life. So once you get the weight off, you have to continually work to keep it off. It's not something that, bingo, you get there and now you can relax. That's what a chronic disease is. That's basically the definition. And so what that meant for the medical field was that insurance coverage was better for obesity. And here comes in appetite suppressants and why I wanted to talk about that. So there's a lot of different ones on the that are available. And one thing that I just want to note about over-the-counter ones, I'm not talking about over-the-counter options that if you went to your local drugstore or you went to the Whole Food, like the natural food store, that you pick something that looks good off the shelf. That can be potentially dangerous, and so I would never recommend doing that, because there is no governing body that could really tell these companies what they can and cannot put in their supplements or their pills or their extracts or whatever it is that they tell you is going to be working magic. But there are medications that are offered that are FDA regulated and have been tested, been researched, been studied, and have been around for a really long time. And they're available to you. And if they can be very effective, there are drawbacks and there are side effects to them, just like many medications that you may know about or may have to take, but they're available. And so it's something that you might want to talk to your doctor about. Not all doctors are going to be open-minded about it, but if you saw a specialist that specializes in weight management, they're probably going to be open to letting you explore those options if it's something that you're ultimately comfortable with. So it's something that you may want to explore. There's ones, they do, the two most common ones that have been around the longest do work with your central nervous system, and they're stimulants to your central nervous system. So they do work very well at suppressing your appetite, but they also do, for some people, cause a lot of anxiety, insomnia, and make you feel nervous. And so if you end up getting those side effects, then it's probably not something you'll want to stay on. In the last couple of years in my career, the doctor that I worked very close with started to recognize the fact that it's not the weight loss phase that people have as much trouble with, because chances are if you are watching this, it's because you're interested in learning how to lose weight, but you've probably lost weight at some point in your life and been successful at it. But you've probably done the yo-yo thing, and it's not for a lack of trying to keep that weight off. The issue that happens, and I've talked about this before, is that when people lose weight, your body's protective survival mechanisms start kicking in. And what this means is that your hunger hormone, ghrelin, increases in production. So you've lost all this weight, you feel great, but you're starving. And that becomes the biggest issue, because you're starving, you have a slower metabolism because there's less of you to maintain, but you're trying to maintain a weight loss, so you have to eat less calories as well. And these appetite suppressants may be really helpful for maintaining the weight off, not necessarily during the active weight loss phase. So what do you do though if you don't like the idea of those side effects, or trying to take a medication, or maybe you don't have insurance coverage? You know, there's a whole multitude of reasons why these might not be a good idea, but they're there and they might be a good idea for you. So I'm not against any of it, to be honest. But there are habits. So even if it was something you wanted to think about doing, at least the doctor, and if you see a doctor that is very well versed in this, they should want to make sure that you have habits in place that are not working against you. So this would be things like, are you eating within the first hour to 2 hours of waking up? Are you getting adequate protein in your diet? This means 30 grams of protein per meal. This means you're probably upping the protein at your breakfast, but you're lowering at dinner, because most people get 60 grams of protein at dinner, but 10 or less at breakfast. So you're kind of flip-flopping that. Are you eating every 5 hours? At least every 3 to 5 hours. Are you getting adequate water? If you're dehydrated, you could be feeling hungry. Are you getting adequate fiber? More fiber in your diet is fruits and vegetables, which means you can get more food on your plate, but less calories. There's a big difference there. So those are some habits that you want to make sure that you're having before you jump to the conclusion that you need assistance. And then the last thing that I mentioned in my blog post is the use of some natural options like peppermint. And I put a link in there to a YouTube video I did a while back on how peppermint can actually help decrease your appetite. And it's one of the reasons why sometimes you'll hear that recommendation of chewing peppermint gum while you're cooking so you don't snack a lot, or brushing your teeth. Why is toothpaste peppermint flavored? And then there's also grapefruit. And so we hear a lot about the grapefruit diets out there, or grapefruits added into diets, and there's a reason for that. But the thing is that just eating a grapefruit doesn't usually do it. So you want to have a really concentrated source of grapefruit, like a pure essential oil. So I talk about essential oils from time to time, and a pure essential oil is very concentrated, and it's equivalent to, I think, eating like, I don't know off the top of my head, but more than one, so probably 20 to 30 grapefruits, and you're going to get some of the benefits of doing that if you just add even a drop to your water. And so I linked that back to an old article that I did on the benefits of grapefruit. And then just, you adding those to your water and making sure you're hydrated is also going to help your appetite. So just some options there, whether natural, whether talking to your doctor about what you might want to consider. But just know that it's a real thing. You're not imagining it. If you lose weight and you're successful, my son's gonna try to give me a shower here. That it can happen, and it's actually, there's been research done in recent years that when people lose weight by blood test, they can tell that your hormones do get all screwed up, and you're going to be fighting it. And if it's there, you got to make sure that you have the habits in place that I talked about and are further discussed on my blog. And also, if you've done all of those things, that you consider some other options, because I'm telling you, once you lose weight, if you start gaining it all back, it's not going to be easy to get it off again. And the yo-yo dieting is really what hurts people's metabolisms more than anything, and your future weight loss attempts. So that's really what I'm about, is trying to help you not only lose weight, but more so maintain what you do lose, whether or not you get to your goal weight. Because, you know, that's going to be for another topic, is realistic weight loss expectations. But maintaining your weight loss is first and foremost the priority. So hopefully you found that helpful and valuable information. Take a look at my post that I did a little bit earlier today, and hopefully you'll get some insight on how to conquer it. Have a great afternoon, and thank you all for replay viewers, live viewers, and I'll talk to you next time.